After a week of Switch 2 madness, it's quite cathartic to sit down with the eShop and actually find some games that you'll be able to afford to play when you maybe get that device. Or if you don't. You may have seen we are giving away a Nintendo Switch OLED Zelda Tears of the Kingdom edition, which I think is quite hard to come by now, thanks to a really nice subscriber on the channel who wanted to lift the spirits after the pricing debacle of the Switch 2 games. What an absolute legend. To be in with a chance of winning that, you just need to leave comments on videos. We'll be picking someone, I think we said April the 19th in a community post. Make sure all your notifications are on if you're interested, because otherwise, well, we want to make sure that you actually see the winner. As always, save yourself a bit more money on these. Use our website, switchup.gg. You'll get 5% in cash back. What are the best games on sale this week that you'll be able to play on any of the Switch ecosystem? Well, my name is Mark Walker. Welcome back to Switch Up. Now let's find out. Let's kick off then with Super Hot. I originally played this one on VR, or in VR I should say, where basically every time you move, the enemy moves. So staying very still and scoping out the situation is the order of the day each time you enter a stage. Now, although it's definitely better in VR, it's still a fun game to play just with a controller. Each stage presents a variety of problems. You've got to hide behind scenery, move a little bit to get those bullets to whiz past you and then kind of pop out. There's quite a bit of strategy to this the further you get into it. It's a very unique game aesthetically, like it really, I guess, was designed for that VR. But yeah, still manages to work. I think that's a sign of good game design. It's 70% off at the moment until April the 27th, taking it down to £5.99. Now, there are a number this week that are region specific. It feels like since the issue with the pre-orders in America, it's like the wheels have come off, isn't it? So a lot of these are in Europe, but then there are some that are only in North America. Sparks of Hope, that's America only. It's 75% off until April 15th. $14.99 or $19.99. Say what you will about Ubisoft, every now and then they just come out with a cracking game. Unfortunately, it ends up almost being overshadowed with some of the nonsense that they add into some of their titles. The Sparks of Hope is brilliant. It has this tactical turn-based combat. If you're familiar with the old XCOM games, then you'll understand. But it also has an open world aspect to it, and you visit several different planets, get a lot of familiar characters join you along the way. There's tons of content there, really a good experience, and as is always the case with Ubisoft games, the price has come right down now. So in North America, 75% off. It's well worth considering that one. Now, hopping over the pond to our side, we have GTA The Trilogy Definitive Edition, which is down 60% until May the 1st, and that's its cheapest ever price. It's £19.99. As you may or may not know, we revisited this game, I think it was 9 times, or was it 12 times? It was a lot of times. But recently, or not recently, about 6 months ago, randomly Rockstar released an update where they'd stripped Grove Street Games, who did the remasters, basically stripped them entirely from that game, redone almost everything and had it working the way it should be. Now, in fairness to Grove Street, I think they had actually made a lot of these changes, but then were waiting on approval. The backlash happened, and then, you know, you can only imagine that meeting that took place, can't you? Sorry lads, you're off the team, but then we're keeping all of these things that you've actually done. We're going to implement them and look like the absolute heroes. But yeah, it is what it is. The trilogy is more than playable now. It runs well enough. The only thing there is the download size of 22 gigs. It's a bit of a beast. I wonder if there's actually anyone that's not played through these before. I bet there are. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever played these before? If you haven't, yes, they are still worth playing. Another one that is EU only is the Red Dead Redemption match, and its cheapest ever price. That's 40% off. That's until May the 1st as well. £23.99 or your regional equivalent. 11.6 gigs to download. This is one that I would very much expect will see a 60 frames per second update, because it can actually run at 60 FPS on Switch modded hardware. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very likely, isn't it? It is nice. I'm actually making a video at the moment looking at the specs of the Switch 2. It's way more powerful than people thought it was going to be, and that's going to mean it can basically run any modern game with a few caveats and modifications. But yeah, if you're interested in nerdy stuff like that and you like the All Patched Up series, it's going to be the first episode of All Patched Up that looks at Switch 2. That should be on Monday. So yeah, if that interests you, check that one out. But Red Dead Redemption, the first, is great. I'm sure we'll see Red Dead Redemption 2 come across in due course. Actually, top tip, if you are going to get the Switch 2, and this is where I go on these red herrings, isn't it? I always do this, I just start waffling. They have these custom micro SD cards. Well, I say custom, they are a format that has existed that didn't sell, and now they've kind of introduced them to Switch 2, but they're like 8 to 10 times faster than current formats, so there is a reason it's there. They're called micro SD express cards. There's only one in the UK that exists at the moment, and it's expensive, and it's getting more expensive by the day because of the Switch 2 announcement. I think it's a Lexar card, actually. You can get them on Amazon, but if you import them from like China directly, you can get them for about half price, but they're also starting to go up. So if you're going to get a Switch 2, start to have a look early for your storage, because otherwise you are going to pay for it. Don't get a class 10 card, remember, because that's not what we're going for. It is that micro XD Express. Very often they'll call it a Pro card. Just have a look at the speeds. Should be around 900 megabytes a second. After Red Dead, then we've got a little hidden gem in the form of Heidelberg 1693, which Glen showcased. Like, he was playing this and I was like, man, that looks a lot of fun, but it's brutally difficult as well. It's like a side perspective experience, quite old school, but it looked a lot of fun. I mean, if you're someone that doesn't like difficult games, this is not going to be for you at all. But it's down 50% at the moment to £6.74, so I thought I'd give it a bit of a shout out. It's just 711 megabytes to download. Now, one that we have talked about is Paper Trail. That's down 90% now, even further than before, until April 26th. To £1.67, a lovely little experience. I tell you what, I really do find it satisfying when I recommend a game and then like the next week or 2 weeks later, someone says, oh, I finished that, it was amazing. We had a few comments about Paper Trail, people saying, wow, I got way more out of it than I thought I would. Like, there was a bit more story there than I expected. And that's just nice to see. The last thing I want is for someone to waste money. Like, that wouldn't be cool. So Paper Trail, highly recommended, stupidly cheap price.
Astrophysicist in training. Hobbies include journaling, origami,
and then Surmount. This is the best type of game for a sale, in my opinion. Something that comes with a big flaw, and I'll talk about that, but that is good enough that if the price is low enough, it's well worth considering. Now, this one, like Celeste before it, sees you trying to surmount a mountain, trying to get over it, trying to work your way up. And it has this mechanic where you basically swing yourself around and jump up. The problem with it was, or I should say is it's a little fiddly to get your spin right so that you then jump to the next hold. It requires practice and getting your timing just spot on, but it does have a really nice little atmosphere to it, and when you get to grips with that, you can actually really start to progress quite quickly. It has two-player co-op as well, which in my opinion works great for it. You're almost helping each other work your way up then. But you can play it solo, you don't need that. Now that's 75% off, down to £3.37. I'd never recommend this at full price, because that frustration element, like I think you'd be like, okay, all right. But if you're only paying £3, it's like, oh, okay, I can get on board with that. That one's a 1.2 gig download and it goes on until April the 23rd. Hades doesn't need any introduction. With the announcement of Hades 2 coming to Switch in, what, a month? 2 months? I should say Switch 2. They've dropped this one down to its lowest, £7.87. That's the cheapest it's ever been. Brilliant game. If you like roguelites at all, even if you've got saturated with them, if you've not played this, it's the gold standard up there with things like Dead Cells, although I know many would actually argue Dead Cells is a better game. Let's not start that war. I think we'd all agree this is decent. 5.7 gigs, as I say, until April the 21st. My favourite space-based roguelite is Everspace Stellar Edition at 85% off. I'll probably mention this again in the midweek sales because it's just too good a price. It's £5.39. I love this game. I try and explain it in a slightly different way each time, you know, get you excited. I'm going to go the nerdy route now. It includes things as well, even though it's a roguelite and you choose your path through the different areas. It has like little side missions, like you might come across a hollowed out frigate and you can like creep your way inside and look for loot and stuff like that. But it also has asteroids that you can actually fly all the way through, searching for hidden secrets and stuff. Yeah, I love this. Really good game. Everspace Stellar Edition is 85% off until April the 19th. That then takes us on to the fully fledged hidden gem of the week, and I had never heard of it. I saw the price, easy pickup. It's decent. It's called Softstar, and you may have heard of this and just thought, Mark, why have you never mentioned it? It's 70% off. It's only £3.50 and it's just 302 megs. It is a vertical shmup, and as you know, I've really been getting into these. It uses the proper arcade resolution as well, which is like 320p. I know that might sound terrible, but it's like 240 by 320 pixels. It has 6 different game modes in it as well, 8 stages in the story mode, or like the classic arcade story mode, but then you've got 60 stages on the cadet school mode. There are over 20 different boss fights and 6 difficulty levels. If you like shmups, pick it up. I mean, even if you don't, like, you've not tried them, I've only really gotten into them in the last maybe year, but man, it's funny how many parallels there are between, you know, those hard, like Souls-like games and old classic arcade games that were brutally difficult and relied on you learning patterns and timing, but also having lightning fast reflexes. So if that doesn't sound like something you'd enjoy, then avoid at all costs. But if it does, for this price, yes please. That sale goes on until April the 17th. On to our Savaloy selection, very cheap. I know Siobhan said in the comments that last week she had a Costco hot dog. I don't know how true that is because I know she's in the UK, so don't fib. But we also have our vetkoeks for our South Africans and various other regional dishes that you all like to tell me. I like this section now because it really confuses new people. They're like, what on earth is going on? We were talking about games and now you're talking about cheap food. I think we might just leave it at that now. We just won't give the explanation. Either way, these are very cheap games. You work out the link if you want. The first is The Swindle at 85% off. A lovely little heist game where you have to go in, plan these routes, steal stuff and get out, hopefully with some decent stuff in your pockets. Fury is down to its cheapest ever, 80% off until April 16th. Really good action game there. But there's a version called the Modor edition, which is 80% off, and that has the DLC as well, which is just £3.84 in total. So yeah, I would get that personally. We had it last week in the mainline list, but The Somnian Files at 90% off, just £3.59 is way better than, well, that's like some seriously good value. And Crypt of the Necrodancer, 80% off. Even if you don't like rhythm games, this one is addictive. There's then Cadence of Hyrule, which was the Zelda adaptation. When Nintendo turn around to an indie and go, that game's so good, we want you to use our mainline character basically in it in a new version, you know it's worth picking up. So that is it for this week. I think there's some decent bargains in there for sure. As I said at the start, if you want to or are interested in winning that Switch Zelda limited edition, just pop your comments down below. Let us know what you're picking up this week and we will be announcing the winner in a community post around about, was it the 18th or 19th? I should know that, but it's on the channel anyway in a community post as it is. Thanks to all of you that enjoy the content, to our Patreons and our members. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!